Yo, yo.
Okay,
Yeah,
here we go.
perfect. Yeah, I did pause it because we were on a little early there. All the people watching the replay would not want to watch us work through our technical difficulties, would they? All right. Kathy Sacramento, or no, Sacranton, PA, Pennsylvania, freshman in college. Awesome. 12th grade from Illinois. Joyce, welcome. Mike, San Antonio, Texas, freshman in college. Nice, perfect. All you college students or families with college students, very applicable still. Junior and senior in college. All right. You're almost there. There's a light at the end of the tunnel, Tina. You can do it. Let's see here. Indiana, 19 years old, sophomore in college. Okay. Junior in college. All right. Junior at UT, oh, UT Austin. Good school. Good school. Connecticut, senior. All right. Hawaii. Aloha, Tiffany. Current freshman. All right. Nice name as well. Nice to have you on here, Lance. Not very many of us out there. Yeah. Shar, Indiana, 16, grade 10, Pennsylvania. All right. Sophomore. Ken, welcome, welcome from St. Louis. Marianne from Pennsylvania. Holy cow. Okay. We have 38 new messages and it's go time. So, holy
Yes.
cow. We've got a big group. We had a record breaking number of people register for this webinar. So, there's a lot of you on here. We are excited to have you on. It's going to be a lot of fun. We are well over 125, 26, 27. It just keeps going. Everyone's getting logged in. We have well over 100 people on here. For that reason, I'm going to try my best to manage the Q&A. Cori is going to be delivering this webinar. It is 6 o'clock Mountain Time, 5 o'clock where Cori's at on Pacific Time. And for those of you on the East Coast, it's 8 o'clock, and we don't want to leave out you Central Time folks at 7 o'clock. So it's late for some of you, and some of you are just getting done with work. So thanks for joining us. I'm glad that you were able to jump on. I know Monday night during the holiday season is not the most convenient time. There's probably a lot going on right now, but this is the only time that Cori and I could get together and do this, and it's long overdue. We have been wanting to do this for a while. We've actually been really focused on trying to get our new software launched. Hopefully, you've been getting all of our emails about College Cost Secrets. We've got brand new software that's going to help you apply a lot of what we're going to learn tonight. But I just want to introduce Cori real quick. She sent me a little bio and I forgot to read it, so I'm just going to wing it. I have known Cori for a very long time. Cori has been in this industry well over 20 years and has taught me everything that I know about the college admissions and the college the financial aid, like everything to do with college education consulting. So Cori is an independent education consultant. She has been doing this a very long time. Cori, how many FAFSAs would you say
Oh
you have
goodness.
completed?
I really don't. I can't imagine. Thousands and thousands.
Cori has submitted
Yes.
thousands of FAFSAs. So one of the things that she does, which she'll talk about, is that she helps families submit the FAFSAs by literally doing it for them. So she'll meet with families and then she'll fill out the FAFSAs for them. She does the CSS profile as well and all of the extra forms that the schools need. So she is literally the guru of gurus when it comes to financial aid forms. I know just enough to be dangerous from what Cori has taught me, but Cori is the expert. So I have her on to give us this webinar tonight. I am going to be just listening in. You've probably been on my email list for a long time. If you got this notice for this webinar, I specialize with my team as college funding specialists. We specialize in the funding side of college. So if you figure out that college is, more than you thought, and you need help figuring out how to pay for it, then that's where we step in. Cori will help you to maximize all of the free money for school and from the schools, from the states, from the government. Their average savings of their clients is anywhere from $40,000 to $60,000 off of the cost of college. So Cori is really good about helping you reduce the cost of college by maximizing all the free money. Then we step in and show you the best way to pay for it without sacrificing your retirement. That's how we work together. So without further ado, I know you guys are not here to listen to me. You are here to learn about the FAFSA. So I am going to turn the time over to Cori. Hopefully you guys can see her screen. Like I said, it looks like we've got well over 50 comments about where you're from. So sorry if I didn't get to you, but welcome. Thank you. It looks like we've got lots of people with seniors in high school and lots of you who have college students, which is great. That means the FAFSA is opening up hypothetically December 31st, and it is go time for you. So this is going to be very, very pertinent to your you're needing to use this right now, basically, right? And then some of you have freshmen in high school, juniors in high school, sophomores in high school, and even younger, and you're just trying to get a little head start on what's new and what's changed with the FAFSA. So with that, I'm going to turn the time over to you, Cori.
Thank you. All right. This is one of my favorite topics. So I'm excited to be here. Thank you. And we have been talking about this for a long time, but there's always more information. And very fortuitously, federal student aid came out late on Friday with their latest update. So we get to bring that to you as well. I am going to go back to the beginning a little bit. So if you've already filed a FAFSA and you have kids in college or you have a senior, you may already know the first couple slides. Bear with us, and then we'll get into the new stuff and the updates. So the first thing, actually, the first thing I want to do is go over IDs. Then we'll go over the form. There's some new terminology with the new FAFSA that's coming out. We'll dig into news and updates, and then what you can expect and our plan of attack for our clients. And then we'll do questions and answers. Okay. So put your questions and answers in the chat. We'll get to them as we can, or Lance will, or we'll just run through them at the end. Okay. So first off, you have heard a lot about FSA IDs, and you may already have those, but it's very important to realize that, or to note that the FSA ID is your account username, correct this typo, and password for accessing everything that's on the federal aid site. So that is your FAFSA form later on, that's your loans later on, that's repayment of loans. It is the account username and password for all things federal student aid. That FSA ID allows students and parents to identify yourself electronically so that you can access all the things that you need to access. Okay. Students, every student needs an ID. That is just, everyone needs an ID. Parents, if you are a two-parent household and you filed your taxes jointly, only one of you need an ID. And there's been a little confusion this year about that. But if you are married parents, you file your own tax returns, only one of you needs an ID. If you're a two-parent household, but you filed your taxes separately, then we have two tax returns for two parents, then each of you need an ID. Okay, so basically for each tax return, that person needs an FSA ID account. If you are a one-parent household, then you just need the ID. The other parent, for FAFSA purposes, does not. Now, if that other parent is going to go secure loans, the parent loan for the student, then they would need their ID. But we're just talking about the FAFSA form tonight. So single-parent households, you're the only one that needs that ID. Okay. This is a screenshot of what studentaid.gov looks like. If you haven't seen it, here it is. Over here on the right, where this nice big red arrow is, that's where your student goes and creates their account. They log out, you come in after and do a second account, or you go in first and then they do. Doesn't matter, but that create account button is where you're at. Okay, when you click that button, it's going to look like this. And so here's your get started and kind of a timeline, right? So we'll be filling out the FAFSA January of 2024, pardon me, typo there. And then you're going to sign the master promissory note if you're using loans in July. And then later on, probably about 12 to 6 months before your student graduates college, then they'll do their exit counseling for loans on their way out and go into repayment. So to get started, you need social security numbers for everybody, a mobile phone number, and an email address. And that mobile phone and that email address are going to be used as identifiers. It'll be used for two-step verification. So there is that going on. Okay. All right. So what is the FAFSA form? I always want to explain it's the free application for federal student aid. It is a piece of paper. It is not an entity. It's a piece of paper, and it's a piece of paper that gets completed in your student senior year. You cannot do it before because that's the wrong academic year. It opens in your student senior year. Under normal circumstances, that's been October of your student senior year. This year, we're pushing December, and we'll even talk about what's going to happen in January. And that piece of paper must be submitted for your student to be eligible for any federal aid, any state aid, if you live in a state that also gives financial aid to students. Colleges use that FAFSA. It's free to them, so they use it to allocate their own college-sponsored and institutional monies. And then you may run into private scholarships who also want a copy of the FAFSA if it's a need-based scholarship. So it is a very multi-purpose form. It's a very important form, and we treat it with quite a bit of respect in my world. So again, it must be completed to be considered for financial aid, for all the aid, even if you feel like, or you know that you're over income. I get this from parents a lot. We're not going to qualify for financial aid. Do we have to fill out the FAFSA? Yes, you absolutely should fill out the FAFSA if for anything for scholarship purposes. The college's institutional money, it may be merit money, it may be need-based money. Fill out that FAFSA form. If you want to or need to use the federal loans, got to fill out the FAFSA form, and then private scholarships as well. You know, heaven forbid something happened to a parent in the midst of this college year. Having that FAFSA form on file is going to let that college step in and take care of things if they are able and willing to do that. So yes, everybody fills out the FAFSA. It's free. It's kind of a pain, but it is well worth it. Okay. And that last bullet, it's got to be done if we're using loans to pay for college. And if you've watched Lance's Secret Number 3 video at all, that's about using loans to pay for college. So we're filling out FAFSAs. Okay, there's some new terminology. In previous years, expected family contribution, that has now been changed to student aid index. So I think you'll see a lot of EFC, SAI. I may even go between the two tonight. On past forms, there's been a parent 1 and a parent 2. Now that goes away, and we have contributor 1 and contributor 2. They've just made it more general. In the past, we've used a system called the IRS data retrieval tool. They spent millions of dollars creating this tool. It never worked right, and they just kept trying to fix it. So finally, they just put in the trash, which is great. But now we have a new system, and we don't know what to expect or how that system is going to work, but they assure us it'll work beautifully. But that is the Financial Aid Direct Data Exchange. And that is the ability to pull some data from the IRS directly into the FAFSA. The idea making it easier for everybody to submit. We'll talk about that specifically in a few slides. And then in years past, there's been a student aid report. So we submitted the FAFSA, it gets processed, and then a student aid report is generated. Same kind of report is getting generated, but they've changed the name of it now to FAFSA Submission Summary. Okay. All right. So what is some of the news, and what have you heard, and what's true and what's not? So the big thing that came out early was the number of students in college is no longer considered in determining the student aid index. And that is true. The question will still be asked on the FAFSA form, and let me explain why. Why is because Department of Education provided guidance to the colleges that they may choose, if they're able and willing, to account for additional costs that you incur as a parent when you have another student in college when they're awarding their own institutional money. So the EFC or the SAI is not going to automatically be reduced when we have multiple kids in college, but the colleges can take that into consideration if they are awarding their own institutional money. So they can't use that number when they're awarding federal money. They can use it when they're awarding their own money. So for families with multiple students in college, an individual college can choose to consider that number. And again, that ties to our college search, and that ties to maximizing the free money, right? Picking the right colleges. So if the college wants to take that number into consideration for us, then they will. And then if an individual college does not automatically consider this and take it into consideration, then maybe, depending on the college and depending on the circumstances, we have an opportunity to appeal that financial aid award. We won't really get into that so much, but that's a lot of the work that we do in our educational consulting. Okay. All right, so some things about Pell Grants. The 2024-2025, so that's the upcoming academic year, and the FAFSA, we have a new year-round Pell Grant. So in years past, kids can only get it through the academic year. Now, if they're eligible for the Pell Grant and they want to go during the summer, they can get an additional 50% of that Pell Grant amount and apply that towards summer school tuition and books and their cost of attendance. So that's good for them. Maximum Pell Grants. There's going to be some awarding of maximum Pell Grant. And so these bullets describe who actually gets that. So this first one here, if we have a student or you have a student and you're the parent and you're not required to file a tax return, then that student's automatically going to get the full maximum Pell Grant. That amount has yet to be determined. This year it was about $7,800, so we expect it to be that much or more. But maximum Pell Grant if parents are not required to file a tax return. Also, if we have a single parent and that single parent adjusted gross income is less than 225% of the poverty guideline for the family size in the state that you live in, then maximum Pell Grant. Okay. If we have parents who are not single, so they're married, they're marrying, filing separately, they're all that, and their income is less than 175% of the federal poverty guideline for the family size in the state that you live in, max Pell Grant. Okay, and you can Google what is the federal poverty guideline in the state that you live in, and it'll give you a nice chart, and you can find where you're at on that chart. Okay, so for those students who are truly low income, there's an automatic Pell Grant. They have to fill out the FAFSA, but that comes automatically. And we should know in the next, I don't know, 3 months or so what that Pell Grant amount is. Then farms and businesses. So this is new. In years past, if we didn't have a lot of employees or we lived on our farm, we didn't have to report those numbers. Now, farms and businesses are reported as assets on the FAFSA form. Okay, and so our business values, the value of that is going to be what can you convert to cash within 30 days. For example, that's going to be real estate, equipment, inventory. That minus any debt that you hold against those assets is your business value. And there's a table inside the FAFSA that it's going to be adjusted down. So it won't be the full value or the full number that you put on the FAFSA, but it is going on there. I do want to say, do not include any accounts receivables that you have, and do not include any goodwill that is a part of your business. Okay. On your farm, same thing. what assets can be converted to cash within 30 days. So on our farm, that's going to be our land, our buildings, our livestock, other items that are actively used in the farming activities. Okay, minus any debt held against those assets. Do not include receivables or goodwill. And if you live on your farm, do not include the portion of your family's primary residence where it's located on that same plot as the farm. Okay. All right. Next, now some students and parents will be exempt from reporting their assets at all on the FAFSA. And that has to do with income. So if a student qualifies for maximum Pell Grant, so if the parent is not required to file a tax return or a parent earns less than those federal poverty guidelines, then students and parents are not going to have to report assets on the FAFSA. Okay. A student or parent who received a federal means tested benefit in any of the 2 prior years. So some of you may live in school districts where everybody gets free or reduced lunch. That's a benefit provided by from the district. The district qualifies for that benefit and passes it on to the students at those schools. That's not what this is. This is if the family qualifies for a federal means tested benefit of any sort in the 2 prior calendar years, then we don't have to report assets. So that could be WIC, SNAP is food stamps, federal housing subsidies, those kinds of Social Security insurance for low income, those federal means tested benefits there. Okay, if you receive those, no assets have to be reported. Also, this one can be a little confusing. A student whose parents earn less than $60,000 a year, so single parent or married parent, earn less than $60,000 a year and do not file the letter schedules. So do not file an A, B, C, D, E, F, or H. But if you do file a C, and that's for the purpose of business income, as long as that business income is less than $10,000, then you would still qualify to, or you would still be exempt from not having to report your assets. So a little bit of if this, then this. Okay. Perfect. All right. Students with divorced and separated parents. We talk a lot about this in our private consults. In years past, it was always, where did the student spend the most time? Okay, that is changing. And the change is now the primary parent that's going on the FAFSA is going to be the parent that provided the greater amount of financial support for the student. Okay, the parent who provided the greater amount of financial support. Now, that does not automatically mean the parent who pays child support. Okay, nor does it automatically mean the parent where the student spends the most time. So they intended to make it less gray, but I feel like they made it more gray. Okay, rather it's going to be, and they said this in one of the many webinars I've been on in the past few weeks with the Department of Education, it will be at the students and the parents' discretion to determine which parent provides more financial support. Okay, if you're in this situation and you're familiar with how support is calculated, you understand that support is assigned to one parent to bring them equal to the other parent, right? It's not typically an over and above. That support is assigned to bring them equal. So then what happens? Usually it is where that student resides, right? Then that parent's has more money for lunch and this fundraiser, and we need a new backpack and this kid's birthday party and all the things. So it truly is at your discretion to honestly answer that question. Okay, we have a lot of different scenarios of families. Families are very dynamic, but let's just go through one here until we get to our question and answer. So student lives with parent 2. Okay, parent 1 pays child support. If it's determined that parent 2 provides more financial support because that kiddo is in that home, then parent two is the primary parent on the FAFSA form. Okay, there's no way to prove it. They're not going to ask for divorce decrees. They're not going to ask for bank statements or expense statements. Rather, when you sign the FAFSA, you are signing it, and your student is as well, that this information is true to the best of your knowledge under penalty of a very sizable fine of like $25,000 and jail time. So that's where the teeth is. And we'll go from there. All right, next one. This new financial aid direct data exchange thing. This enables us to transfer, Department of Ed, to transfer information directly from our tax returns into our FAFSA. And that sounds wonderful. And that sounds like it's going to be easy for everybody. And it's just click, click, click. I am here to tell you from prior experience, do not utilize this feature. Okay. It is not mandatory. It is highly encouraged, but there is a workaround. For our clients, we will not use this transfer feature. We're going to key in those numbers. And there's 3 big reasons why. Okay, number one, the transferred numbers, you can't see them. Okay, only the college can see them on your side, on their side, excuse me. Right. So number one, I can't see what those numbers are. So they're shielded from view. That's concerning. Number two, once the numbers are transferred, the parent or the student can't edit them. So you can't see them, you can't edit them. Only the college can edit them on their copy in their financial aid office. And then the third reason why we do not use the transfer is it cannot be reversed. So once you do it, we cannot undo it. So we will always manually enter tax information for ourselves. Takes a little bit longer, but then we see what it is. We know that it's accurate. Then if the college selects us for verification and requires that transfer on the second transaction, fine. We already know what the right numbers are and what the SAI is. We can do the tax transfer on the second transaction. And as long as the SAIs match, we know that all is well. If the SAIs are different, then there's some work to do. So, okay. All right. You ready for the big news that came out on Friday? Okay. The big news and what we can expect is that there will be what they're calling a soft launch of the FAFSA. So on December 31st, maybe a day or hours before then, but on that date and for the weeks following, Department of Ed is doing what they're calling a soft launch. What that means is the FAFSA will be open, but federal student aid will be monitoring the site for performance. They are going to be conducting planned pauses for maintenance, meaning they're going to take it down and shut it down and do maintenance. And they're going to make updates to improve the user experience for all of us. So it's always wonky when it opens, even under normal circumstances. It's going to be even more wonky. Okay, it's okay. Because students and families, you have nothing to worry about. You will have ample time to complete the FAFSA. And this is Department of Ed's words on Friday. You do not need to rush to fill out the form immediately when the soft launch period opens. Okay. And the reason for that is also that federal student aid is not going to transmit your results to the schools until later in January. So we're going to have the entire month of January for them to work out the bugs, take it down, put it back up, do the upgrades, make their improvements all month long. Okay. Now, what your students and you and the schools can expect during the soft launch is this. Okay, it will be open. You will be able to complete your FAFSA. FSA will initiate these planned pauses as needed. So if you go into the FAFSA and you can't get in, don't be alarmed. Just wait a little bit and come back and try it again. Okay. If the site gets overwhelmed, if too many people get in, then they may do these waiting room things is feature is what they're describing it. So that is going to, they'll let you in, but then you'll have to wait, kind of like waiting on hold. And that's going to help control that website volume and ensure optimal performance of the form and that it doesn't crash. Okay. When you're in the FAFSA and when you complete the FAFSA during this soft launch period, all the information is going to be stored. Okay. If you get kicked out, if you have to wait to come back in, everything that you've done is going to be there. And even after the soft launch is over, you're not going to need to go back in and resubmit anything. Okay. So once it's submitted, it's submitted. Any data that's entered into the FAFSA will be stored and held securely and safely during these pauses and site maintenance. And as soon as it comes back up, they say everything's going to be done. All right. So after all the sections of the FAFSA are completed and submitted, your student will receive a confirmation email noting their submission date, their estimated student aid index, and their estimated Pell Grant eligibility. Your student will get this email, not the parents. Okay, so this can be kind of a trying time because they don't all check their email, right? But it's always good practice to tell them, hey, buddy, if you get anything from FAFSA, anything about financial aid, forward it on. Or if you're able to hack their email, then that is always a good course of action as well. So your student, when the FAFSA is submitted, will get a confirmation email that it's been submitted. However, it will not fully process until late January. Okay. At that time, and again, that's why we have tons of time to submit these FAFSA forms. It will open in the soft launch, but the FAFSA will not process until late January. That means the colleges aren't going to see that information until late January. Department of Ed, Federal Student Aid, they're going to hold on to it. Okay. So we have lots of time. There's no race to the finish line. So here's what we can expect. In late January is when the colleges will receive the processed FAFSA information. When that happens, your student is going to get another email, and that's going to notify them that their information has been sent to the colleges that they listed on their FAFSA form. Okay. Then students should begin to receive their financial aid awards from colleges that they've been accepted to. So they have to be accepted first, and then they get that award letter. That's going to be several weeks after the end of January, after the college receives that processed FAFSA information. So here's what we're going to do and what we would recommend for everyone for best practices. So from January 1st to the 15th, we're going to sit back, we're going to wait, we're going to watch. There's going to be a lot of webinars from Department of Ed that I'll be a part of. We'll run some tests. I'll use my own kids as guinea pigs, and we'll let them work out the bugs and get everything in good order. Then around the middle of January, we'll begin slowly submitting FAFSA forms for our clients. Once we know that everything is good and solid, then we'll jump in there and we'll start cranking out FAFSA forms. At the end of January, colleges will begin receiving all of the processed FAFSA info that has been submitted so far. That means March at the earliest, you could expect financial aid awards to be going out to your students via email or posted in their portals at the schools that they have been accepted to. And then that means that financial aid appeals, if it's appropriate for you to be appealing your financial aid award, it's going to happen after that. And that's all later than we're accustomed to, but it's still well within and well before that May 1 deadline. And that's the official commit date for first year never attending freshmen to make their enrollment deposits at the college that they are going to enroll at. Okay. And then that's it. Lance, I saw lots of chat questions, but
Oh my gosh, I've been typing like a madman.
ah, yeah. And we're here to answer all the questions before we really get sidetracked too much. We did put two things on the slide to throw them out there. And yes, we do work privately with families. They're dynamic. You might have a unique, complicated situation. I have been doing this for almost 20 years. I want to say I've seen it all, but maybe not. Surprise me. And so we'll put this link in the chat, and then we're just so super excited. We've been working for how long on a new SAI calculator and cost
It has
and
been a
software.
good year for the software. So the
Yeah.
software actually, I started interviewing developers on December 28th of last year for the new software. We have spent hundreds of thousands of dollars on this new software. And the most complicated part was the SAI calculator. I think Cori was about ready to murder my developer by the time it was done. But I appreciate her patience, and you guys should all appreciate her patience as well, because now we have an SAI calculator and it should be pretty accurate. So go to collegecostsecrets.com. Yes, it does ask for your financial information, but we don't ask for addresses, date of birth, socials. We don't ask for any personal information. But you do need to put in your numbers if you want an SAI calculator. No, if you want your SAI number calculated, you do have to put in financials. Okay. So the benefit of our software is that it's the first software that, the general public has access to that calculates financial aid and gives you an idea on merit-based scholarships that the schools offer as well. We paid thousands and thousands of dollars for this data. So there's a company that surveys all the universities and asks them a bunch of information, basically. So we have purchased that data, and then of course we have put it into this software. And it's really the only software that I know of that's available to the public for free that allows you to put in your financial information and your students' academics, and you can calculate the estimated financial aid and scholarship money. And you can also sort by schools that are going to offer you the most money. You can narrow down the schools by the schools that offer the right majors. You can narrow it down by state. You can narrow it down by cost. There's a lot of filters. So it's a traditional college search tool, but we've added this financial element to it so that you can get a better idea of how much college is going to cost you. Because an $80 private school could cost you $10,000. The sticker price doesn't really matter. It's what it's going to cost you that matters. If I saw tons of questions coming in the chat, if you could copy and paste those over into the Q&A, it would be a lot easier to click on like answer, so we know when we've answered them. Also, there was a lot of like overarching themes of the questions. One of the themes was about like IRA money, and maybe your kid inherited and some money and it's in an IRA or a Roth IRA. Anything that is in what we call a traditional kind of retirement account, your IRAs, your Roth IRAs, SEPs, Simples, Keogh plans, all of these retirement accounts do not hurt you on the FAFSA. They are looking for money that can be used for college. So they're looking for money in your brokerage accounts, right? Your taxable brokerage accounts. Yes, you might have to pay capital gains to liquidate it, but you can still do that to pay for college without a penalty. Whereas with an IRA, you would have a penalty if you tried to use that money to pay for college. So they don't count those. Anyway, so for those of you who are asking about IRAs and Roth IRAs and things like that, however, your 529 accounts, those do count on the FAFSA. You do have to put 529 money on the FAFSA. So make sure you watch our secret number 3 video to teach you a better way than the 529 money. We'll go into that in more detail. But then there were a lot of questions on the whole divorce situation. So Cori, maybe we
Yeah.
can clarify that a little bit more. My understanding is, correct me if I'm wrong, but in a divorce situation, it is whichever parent provides the most financial support. Is that correct?
That is the guideline.
Okay. And then if it's 50-50, then pick the parent that makes the least amount of money and
Yeah,
go with
it's
that.
at the students and parents' discretion. So if everything really is 50-50, then then it's probably where the student lives. And then if that truly is 50-50, I would run both numbers and see which is to the student's benefit. Mhm.
Which is a great way to use the College Cost Secrets calculator, because this is not tied to the government FAFSA at all, right? So you can go in and play around with this software, and see what the numbers would look like as like this is kind of like the sandbox that you can play in before it comes time to actually do the real deal, right?
Mhm.
Here were a couple of questions that I didn't know the answer to. Where can I apply for TAP? Is there
So
a deadline?
yeah, so TAP is the New York State Tuition Assistance Program. And so you'll do the FAFSA first, and then it may give you the opportunity to just tie that to TAP. If not, it'll give you a link to click on to go to the TAP. That some of the states there's a direct link, and then sometimes there isn't. But I think New York was able to do that. But it's FAFSA first and then TAP.
Perfect. All right. Marianne asked, if my daughter won a scholarship, do I need to include that in the application?
No.
So that's not included in the FAFSA, but those scholarship monies do get sent to the school. Is that correct? So they know
Yes.
about it, right?
Mhm.
So sometimes they may try to reduce the amount of money that they were going to offer you by the scholarship money that they received. Great reason for an appeal for more money, or use Cori's services, have her help you go to bat to really kind of get the most money out of those schools. Is that right?
Yeah.
Okay.
I heard actually a government official on one webinar. They were kind of funny, so I have to give them credit for it. But they said if the IRS doesn't tax it, then the FAFSA doesn't ask it.
That's a good way to put it. And really what they've been trying to do is they've been trying to align everything more towards the tax return.
Mhm.
Right. So, Cori, I was too busy typing answers to all these questions. I don't know if you talked about this, but now, correct me if I'm wrong, but now the contributions that you put towards your retirement accounts can actually benefit you.
Well, they don't. In years past, all our pre-tax retirement contributions on our W-2 were added back as income.
Yes.
And
And
so
now they're
now,
not.
no, they're not added back.
So putting your money towards these retirement accounts, although they showed up on the W-2 in the past and currently, but in the past, you were asked to add that basically
Mhm.
that contribution amount, and then they would add that to your income.
Right.
So it used to be that people thought, well, hey, I'm just going to put a bunch of money towards my retirement account. That's going to lower my income and lower my EFC number. Well, now with the new SAI number, it does work that way. You can put money towards retirement accounts and it will lower your SAI number.
Mhm.
But I do want to make one quick caution before you start repositioning assets or trying to lower your income or any of that. Make sure you go to College Cost Secrets and play around with the scenarios and see if it's going to make a difference. So if you're trying to go to a local state school and your SAI number is $89,000, and by making some changes, it gets it down to 75,000, but you're still going to a state school, you're still not going to get any free money. Your focus needs to be more on merit-based money that's available. And so there's a different strategy for each family. That's why Cori offers her services, because it's not always about lowering the SAI number to get more financial aid. Sometimes it's about having a big SAI number to help get accepted to these dream schools and to maximize merit-based scholarships as well.
Mhm.
So,
Yep.
another question Pat had was, is it still based on your tax return from 2 years ago? So it's still the prior year, right?
Correct.
Okay.
Yes.
So,
Yep.
so for those of you who are filling your forms out in December, you would be using a 2022 tax return.
Yeah, it's prior year from the academic year that you want financial aid in. So the academic year that we're going to be working on is 24-25. So prior to your 22 tax return. Your
Perfect.
23 tax return is going to be 25-26.
Perfect. Perfect. Okay. We submitted FAFSA last year when our son started college. Do we need to submit the FAFSA again this year? Yes.
Yes. The FAFSA is only good for one academic year at a time. You have to say, hey, I'm still here. Hey, we're going to this school, and give us all you can. Yep.
Yes.
Mhm.
John says, at what age can kids be considered independent? It's 24, not 20.
It is. It's first batch. They've obtained their bachelor's degree. So if they have a bachelor's degree, that next FAFSA is independent, or they turn 24 in the academic year that they're applying for, independent. Mhm.
Perfect. Okay. Okay, let's see here. We answered these tax return
Mhm.
questions. We have scholarship application due on January 10th. That is dependent on FAFSA information. Would you recommend asking them how we can possibly have that information by the deadline?
Now, there's a lot of deadlines out there that were set based on an October opening. Just do your scholarship application. Everybody knows the FAFSA is late. They will get it as soon as the colleges get it. So even if you submit your FAFSA at any time in January, the colleges, the scholarship people tap all your state agencies. Nobody's going to get any of that data until after the end of January. So nothing will be lost. We're all in the same storm.
All right. Pell Grant is wondering if that's free or payback. That is free money.
Yep.
Right.
Grants
Okay.
are always free. Yep.
All right. Sorry, there's 33 questions, so I'm going to try to go
Yeah,
fast.
no.
Will all the colleges listed on the FAFSA get information even if student aid or student did not get accepted to the schools?
So that I didn't mention it. So we can put 20 schools on a FAFSA. Yes, the college could go grab it if your student didn't get accepted, but they won't. They could care less, right? Your student has to get accepted to the college first for that college to go and even want to pull the information and process it. Yep.
Okay, so people are asking for your calendar. I am going to, if you want to book, I'm going to put this in the comments.
I
So,
did, but
oh, you
yeah.
did? Oh, okay, perfect. So it
Do it
should be in the
again.
comments a couple of times. If you're looking to book a call with Cori, there is a link in the comments. There's also the link here on the screen if you are on your phone or not in a place where you can get to the comments, or if you're watching the replay. The whole purpose of this was for the replay, for those of you who couldn't make it. However, we had over 50% of you show up. So well done to all of you. We've got probably the biggest turnout ever. So that's great. But if you are watching the replay, then the link is right here on your screen. The Calendly link to be able to get to Cori's calendar is right there on the screen there. Okay. There's a question that says the SAI is an index, no longer the actual number, how much the family expected to pay. Am I understanding that correctly? So in the past, it was called the expected family contribution number, and that's why they changed the name. They changed the name because it was never what you were expected to pay.
Lovely.
That was the whole reason they changed the name to the SAI number, because it was always used in a formula to calculate your available financial aid. It's the same formula, or not the same formula, but it's still a formula. They just renamed it so that it wasn't so misleading, because expected family contribution means that's all I have to pay is that number.
That's my bill.
That's not true. Not true. So hopefully that covers that. What if my daughter does not recall how to log into the FAFSA? She needs to reset her FSA ID login information.
That's
right?
easy. Just go to studentaid.gov. There's all kinds of forgot username, forgot password features.
Yeah. Okay. Perfect. Neil says, why are they releasing so late? We have early action schools that need to know before we
Understand the colleges are as frustrated as you. And here's the bottom line. There was a 45-year-old computer system that they were putting band-aids on to try to keep together, and they trashed it and built a whole new system. So thank you, but yeah, it's gonna be bumpy to start with.
And wasn't this like 5 years in the making to get to this point or something crazy? Like, I don't know. They've been working on this for a while.
Yeah.
So,
It was
uh,
supposed to happen last year and it didn't happen, so, yeah.
and not to get political, but hey, sometimes the government moves slowly. What can we say? All right. Spring says, I have a child who is in year 2 at a private college, and we didn't get any federal money when she entered. Finances have changed, but it wouldn't be reflected in our returns until 2023. Do we still fill out the new FAFSA this year for the student? So this is where an appeal would come in,
Yeah,
right?
absolutely. So I would appeal to that college right now.
Mhm.
And that's the thing for everybody to understand. Yeah, our tax situations change over it, a 2-year period. So because there's a FAFSA on file and this family situation has changed, it's a phone call to the financial aid office and they can work with you in real time. They may
Awesome.
want pay stubs, and some other evidence, but absolutely that's a conversation that they will have with you.
Awesome. Awesome. Question, do I use the same FSA ID that I used for a previous child? Yes. The parents, it's just
Yes.
one, right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. Calendly site, not correct. It
Lance,
should work.
yours had some other stuff at the end.
Oh, shoot.
I put
Sorry.
mine in
Sorry.
again.
Look at Cori's. Don't look at mine. Look
Yeah.
at Cori's. Sorry. Apparently I had a little extra on mine.
And the other thing too, I mean, really is, yeah, we're on the website. You can go to the Leggedy website and book from
Yeah.
there too.
So with Cori Murphy.
Oops.
Okay, try that one. I just put it in again in case.
There you go.
Now you've
Yeah,
got a
I
few
jumped
in
at the
there.
end.
Sorry about that, John. All right. Okay. Perfect. Not sure that is. Okay. What's the name of the software? So the software is College Cost Secrets.
Mhm.
Just go to collegecostsecrets.com. We don't have really a good name for it yet. If you have a good idea, let us know. Oh, and by the way, it is in beta. So there are a few little bugs here and there, but it works pretty well. We're still fine tuning it.
Yeah.
Okay. Perfect. Is the SAI option where it shows you what schools will offer? Is the SAI option where it shows you what schools will offer available for grad school and med schools?
So I'm not sure the question, but you do, if your student is going to grad school or med school, you still do a FAFSA form. It is for undergraduate, graduate, med school, all the things.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Does accounts receivable mean what is in your checking and savings account?
No, what I meant is if you're a business and you have invoices out there that your customers haven't paid yet, don't count those. Those are receivables that you're expecting. Don't count those in your business value.
Yeah, that would just be for business owners.
Yeah, business owners. Yeah.
If you are in the process of getting a divorce, but it is not official, should you file separately beforehand?
So you don't have to actually have an official divorce decree signed, but you do need to be living at 2 separate addresses. As long if there's a formal separation agreement or you're living at 2 separate addresses, then only one of you can file the FAFSA. Your tax return is still going to be joint, but you just pull off of that tax return and manually enter the pieces that belong to that parent.
Okay, perfect. A divorced parent with twins, freshmen this year.
Mhm.
Mom used to be more financially responsible, but dad paid the tuition. Should we switch the role to be used in the new FAFSA, or doesn't matter with the CSS? Are the CSS aligned with the new FAFSA calculation? Thank you.
That
How would
is that is a private consult question. There's
Yeah,
a lot of math to be doing there. Honestly, it
yeah,
depends on the school. It depends on what aid you're getting, where both parents are financially. I would run, if you're in the college cost secrets software, run it both ways and see. Mhm.
perfect. Yeah, I would definitely reach out to Cori if you have anything that's complicated. It's kind of the way I look at this is it's kind of like doing your taxes. If your taxes are complicated enough to need help from a CPA, then you need help from Cori. And if you want to maximize the free money from the schools, no matter what your situation is, then you might as well at least see if she can help you. My take on it. Our son is a sophomore in college, has his own FSA ID. Our daughter, who is a senior in high school, will need her own FSA ID. Yes,
Yes.
that's correct. As the parent, do we, yes, just one.
As a
Just
parent,
one
we
for the
use the
parent.
same for everybody. Mhm.
Yep. We are married and file jointly. The spouse is a homemaker, unemployed for 15 years. So we use her FSA ID. So if you're married, it doesn't matter, right?
If you're married and file your taxes jointly, then it doesn't matter for FAFSA. But this family needs to watch the secret number 2 videos
Yeah.
because if there's one parent who earns a lot less income, that parent needs to be the one to secure the loans.
Yeah, you guys need to learn about the income-driven repayment plan. So if you have a spouse that makes significantly less than the other spouse, you can get into income-driven repayment plans that's 10% of your income. So if you're a homemaker and your income is 0, then 10% of your 0 income, that's a pretty cheap college education.
Yeah.
And that's a whole nother topic to get into on
Another webinar. We'll be back in 6 months.
we opened up a can there. I'm just kidding. Michelle says, yes, last year's FAFSA was just submitted. I can go in and delete it to, oh, Michelle is somebody who filled out last year. So now we need to do a new one coming up in December when it opens up.
Yes. Yeah.
Okay. All right.
It's all about which academic year. Mhm.
Yep. And then I am unable to schedule an appointment with Cori online. Can you post the link here? Okay.
That was a while ago.
Yeah.
We did.
Okay.
Yeah.
I'm going to send it to her directly.
Okay.
And I'm going to delete that little part at the end there. All right. There you go. Hopefully you have that.
Yes.
I was recently laid off and am starting my own business instead of getting a traditional job. I will be using my retirement savings to get by until the new business starts making money. How do I answer the annual income question? I'm thinking it is 0.
If it's 0, it's 0.
It's really based on, though, your tax return.
Yeah, so in this case, they're using the 2022 tax return, and that will have income on it. You have to fill out the FAFSA correctly and get it submitted correctly, even if your situation has changed. Then once your student is accepted and you have the top, 2 or 3 schools that you're kind of deciding between, you can have those conversations with the financial aid office and say, hey, our FAFSA said this, but here's the reality of our situation today.
Yes.
But that's after they've been accepted and after the school has provided a financial aid award.
Perfect.
Mhm.
For those of you who are asking about secret number 2 and secret number 3 and secret number 4, we have 4 secrets.
Yes.
Secret number 1 is what we're talking about tonight. Secret number 1. Secret number 2 is about the student loans and some of the income-driven repayment plans and some of the ways to reduce the student loans. Secret number 3 is about, it's called the retirement scholarship strategy. It's a way of paying for college and getting all of your money back. And secret number 4 is what we call retirement restoration, how to triple your retirement income to make up for the cost of college. All 4 secrets are on our website, and I just posted the link in the comments, but you can go to Ligeti.com. Or you can just go to collegefundingsecrets.com. That's easier to remember. Go to collegefundingsecrets.com and you'll find a link on our website to all 4 secrets. So you can find all 4 of them.
Binge watch them all.
Binge watch them all. All right. It's the holiday season. What else are you going to do? You've seen The Grinch. You've seen The Grinch a million times. You might as well watch some videos that are going to save you some money. All right. If there is a reduction in AGI from 2022 to 2023, other than reporting tax info, is there any other benefit to showing the reduction? Also, if you have a small business, is the 10K minimum adjusted or gross income for a small
Right,
side?
so you don't get to show the reduction on the FAFSA. You're going to file the FAFSA with your 2022s and then show the reduction directly to the college financial aid office after you got that award letter from them.
Perfect.
And that's a phone call. They might send you a form. They'll tell you how they want you to go about doing that. Mhm.
Are grad students looked at differently that need extra money because parent is on disability?
So grad students are independent and do not report parental income. And typically from the feds, a grad student is only going to get loans. Their free money is going to come from research, paid work, whatever, from the grad school that they are enrolled at. There's no free federal money for grad school.
Perfect. Perfect.
Nope.
Awesome. Okay. We've got 2 more minutes. We're never going to we've got 30 more questions, and unfortunately we are not going to get through them all. So real quick, I just want to make sure, since we're not going to be able to get to everyone's questions, I want to make sure that first things first, hit reply to the millions of emails that you got about this webinar if you have any questions, and we can help you with those questions. But we're also probably just going to send you the link to Cori's calendar. So that is in the chat. By the way, I haven't even gotten to the chat, and I know there were a lot of questions in the chat. Again, we've had a record-breaking number of people on this webinar. We've got millions of questions and comments. I wish we could be here all night, but there's a link in the comments to Cori's calendar. There's also our website. You just go to collegefundingsecrets.com. There's also the emails that you've been getting. Just hit reply to those emails. And I think we're going, I mean, the overarching theme is if you've got a complicated situation, then definitely reach out to Cori. But other than that, I think she covered most of the details. If you're needing help with something else, like figuring out how to pay for college or loan strategies or any of the other strategies that we teach, go to our website, find some calendar links on there to be able to book appointments, or just shoot us an email. Worst case scenario, just shoot us an email. We'll point you in the right direction. So anyway, this was fun. Thanks for being on. We want to keep it short and sweet. And so I hope you guys have a great holiday season and Happy New Year. And good luck on the FAFSA. If you need help, Cori is available. So thank you for your time, Cori. Thanks for all of you being on. This was fun. Go binge watch some videos at collegefundingsecrets.com. All right. Thanks, Cori.
Good night.
All right. Have a good night. I think you have to end it.
Oh,
Recording.
all
I think
right.
that'll help.
Okay.